Marquis T. Woods' past haunted him. His father had been abusive, leaving scars that reminded him of a childhood filled with pain. Even as an adult, those memories lingered. Yet Marquis had built a good life. He worked hard, became successful, and married Viora. One morning, Viora found herself locked in the bathroom. Marquis, skilled with his hands, quickly picked the lock. Something he had learned long ago. Viora smiled, knowing exactly what he was capable of. Marquis worked as a lawyer for Mr. Wyman's company. He excelled at his job and took pride in his abilities. But his life took a sudden turn when he received news that his father had died. He had to return home to manage the estate and paperwork. Viora noticed that Marquis rarely spoke about his father. Finally, he admitted he hadn't seen his father since fleeing Appalachia, escaping a man who had been far from good. Viora urged that they attend the funeral, despite their children's objections. Their teenagers, Ty and Sam, were reluctant. Ty Sherlow dealt with a bully at school, and Marquis advised him to stay calm, to never fight, and to handle things peacefully. Sam and Ty's plans for the weekend clashed with the funeral, causing tension. Marquis chose to fly his own plane to reach the Appalachian Mountain, determined to face the past and the estate matters personally. Upon landing, Marquis stopped at a secluded store to grab snacks for his family. Inside, the elderly store owner was preparing a mojo bag, claiming it offered protection against spells. He urged Marquis to take one for the mountains, but Marquis politely declined, dismissing the superstition. While using the bathroom, he noticed the strong, unpleasant smell and decided to avoid sitting down. Outside, Ty asked a young man about phone reception. Noticing the family's wealth, Ty felt nervous, fearing robbery. The stranger asked to see his phone, and Ty reluctantly handed it over. But when he mentioned the funeral trip to the mountains, the stranger returned the phone without incident. Soon, Sheriff Tom Pines approached, questioning their destination. Marquis explained they were heading to Cypress Ridge. The sheriff warned of an approaching storm, and tension rose when Ty made a joke. Viora quickly scolded him. The sheriff slammed their door, clearly displeased. During the flight, the quiet engine allowed for conversation. Marquis and Viora argued about parenting. Viora criticized him for spoiling the children, while Marquis admitted he wanted to avoid his father's violent ways. He preferred leniency over anger, hoping to break the cycle. Suddenly, the storm worsened, and despite Marquis's confidence, he lost control of the plane. Marquis awoke in an unfamiliar room, wounded and alone. His foot hurt badly. A woman, Eloise, entered, ordering him to stay calm. He demanded to see his family, but she ignored his question. Unable to restrain him, she called her husband Earl, but he was too weak. The couple claimed they had rescued him after the accident and that no one else had been nearby. When Marquis insisted on leaving, they summoned Louis, a large, silent man. Louis carried him back to bed. Eloise then used a powder, forcing him to sleep again. While Marquis slept, Eloise prepared a voodoo doll resembling him, claiming it could control his well-being. Louis dug 3 graves outside, working silently. Upon waking, Marquis was told he had poison in his blood. He begged Eloise for an ambulance, offering a large sum of money. She refused, explaining they had no phones, blaming a prior scam. She showed him the voodoo doll, claiming her spells could heal or harm him, depending on the doll's likeness. She placed it by the window, pouring salt along the sill. A bell was attached to the locked door, ensuring they would know if he tried to escape. Realizing his danger, Marquis began plotting. That night, he climbed out the window, hopping across rooftops until he reached a barn. Inside, Eloise announced she would heal attendees using animal parts. She planned to perform the full ritual at the blood moon. A mute woman was forced to speak after a cat's tongue was placed in her doll. Marquis watched in disgust, questioning the strange and cruel practices. Later, a blind man named Julius was subjected to a similar ritual. Marquis observed from a distance, alerting Eloise, but he managed to slip back to bed before she confronted him. By the time she entered, he feigned calm, though he was drenched and catching his breath. Still, the danger was clear. The salt on the windowsill was disturbed, and the bell on the door ensured he wasn't fully safe. Marquis's escape had only begun. Marquis lied, saying he had never left his bed. Eloise explained they practiced a form of faith healing, though she called it boudji. She joked that Marquis, a city man, wouldn't understand. Offended, Marquis admitted he didn't believe in voodoo, which earned a sharp look from Eloise. She sighed, claiming that since Trump had taken their health care, faith healing was all they had left. That night, Marquis dreamed of his father. Eloise noticed his scars and guessed he had been beaten before. The next morning, Marquis woke to a strange sound, a phone ringing. He enjoyed the food Eloise had prepared, and pleased with his appetite, she went downstairs to get him more. Seizing the moment, Marquis removed the clapper from the bell attached to his door, then returned to bed before she came back. She complimented him, teasing about his appetite, while he asked about the phone sound. Eloise claimed they didn't have phone, assuring him the poison in his blood would be gone by the upcoming blood moon. She gave him some bones, instructing him to throw them. Alone, Marquis realized they were human bone. He vomited but kept calm, pretending nothing was wrong. Later, he attempted to escape. He snuck downstairs, nearly caught when Earl's bird made noise. Flashlight in hand, he ran into the night. Marquis thought of his family and pushed through the pain. He found the crashed plane, empty, and considered seeking help nearby, but Louis caught him and dragged him back. The next day, Marquis discovered a spike under his foot, removed it, and left the attic. In front of the house, 3 shallow graves alarmed him, but relief came when he saw they held animals. Inside a cellar, he found caskets with dead bodies and an old photo of Louis, Earl, and Eloise dated Etienne Bodbite Liqueurs. Among the items was a book about the blood moon detailing a life transference spell. Realizing the danger, Marquis decided to fight back. He created his own voodoo doll using hair from Eloise, Louis, and Earl. Meanwhile, Big B, Bonnie, and Clyde returned. Marquis found Ty's hidden phone and returned to the attic, pretending to pierce himself with a spike to fool the couple. Eloise, satisfied that he hadn't left, went about her ritual. Marquis used Ty's phone to call Julebite Iser-E, the sheriff answered. Surprised that Marquis was calling now, he explained his family's peril, but before help could arrive, Eloise tied him to a doll, silencing him. Marquis managed to grab a shard of glass, pressing it to the window to get the sheriff's attention, but no words could come out. He freed himself from the doll and ran, catching the sheriff's car later. Using the glass, he freed his mouth and told the sheriff about the cult led by Eloise. Shockingly, the car returned him to the farm. The sheriff was in on it. Marquis was dragged into a barn where Sam, Viora, and Ty were in a trance. Eloise prepared a spell to take Marquis' heart for a blood moon ritual. Before Earl could strike, Marquis grabbed his hands and stabbed him in the chest. The guests fled, leaving Marquis with his family. Using a special powder, he revived them from their trance. He apologized to Viora and the kids and quickly moved to secure their escape. Outside, Louis attacked, but Marquis had already drowned his voodoo doll underwater. Eloise thought she was safe, hiding her doll, but Marquis made a new one. He used it to put her into a trance, striking her hard and sending her crashing against a post. As the barn caught fire, Marquis reflected on the lessons learned from his father and from Eloise. He sprinkled salt on the doorway, preventing anyone from entering. Eloise was trapped while Marquis and his family watched the barn burn. Finally, they used the sheriff's car to escape. In the end, Marquis reunited with his family, stronger and wiser. The danger was gone, the cult defeated, and the fire symbolized both destruction and liberation. It was a night of terror, resilience, and revenge, wrapped in supernatural and psychological suspense. The family escaped, leaving behind the horrors of the farm, and Marquis' quick thinking ensured no one could follow.
End the movie? If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out our other recaps and subscribe for more content. And leave comment below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.